Welcome to Property and Beyond with me, Craig Webster. Today, I am flying solo and I wanted to tackle a subject that's becoming increasingly important across the property sector. How do we raise standards without breaking businesses? Higher standards, greater professionalism and increased consumer confidence are good things. How do we achieve that in a way that supports businesses, encourages investment in people, and doesn't simply create more bureaucracy? So today, I'm going to share my thoughts on where we are as an industry, where we need to improve, and how we can raise the standards in a practical way without breaking businesses. So let's get cracking. Let's be honest, the public perception of estate agents still varies significantly. The majority of it, the perception stinks. Only 32% of the public generally trust estate agents to tell the truth. Consumers often struggle to identify the differences between excellent and poor agents. Now, Property Mark are doing a great job and need to continue doing so, raising standards that lead in the conversation, increasing membership into Property Mark. Because let's be honest, professionalism, it benefits everybody. Consumers benefit. 61% of consumers have said they trust estate agents to an extent to act in their best interest, which rises to 65% among homeowners and private tenants. Consumers, they often trust individual agents while remaining skeptical about the profession overall, and that has to change, and that's why standards matter. Employees as well within a estate agency business. Professional qualification, consistent standards, ongoing professional development, known as CPD. It gives a feeling of confidence in employees working. It keeps your teams engaged if you're a business owner, which makes them more productive. And 74% of agents believe in formal qualifications. And that means formal qualifications should be required in a estate and letting agency. And what would raising standards mean for businesses? Well, raising standards will provide clearer expectations to your team. It will increase efficiency from your team and the quality of the service they're providing. It will improve staff retention and it will boost team morale, which in turn is a better experience for customers, which benefits the business with more referrals and or repeat business. So raising standards matters. It matters for consumers, it matters for your team, and it matters for your business. Raising standards will also simultaneously improve the industry's reputation. Now, the UK, it's unusual. We love our country, but it is unusual. Among major markets, there are too many low barriers to entry. It's far too easy to become an estate agent. We all know that. Alongside a lower fee structure, when you compare that to other countries, the US, Australia, France, Japan, Canada, where licensing and continuous professional development are more widely established. Now, if we can raise standards, I am confident that we will start building trust with the public. And as we can see, from when the public work with professional agents, the trust jumps from 32% before the relationship up to 65% after the relationship. So the vast majority of agents are good people. They're trying to do a good job. But unfortunately, the public often remembers the bad experiences rather than the good ones. We all know the case. You go on Google, it's always the bad reviews. It's much more easy to leave a bad review than a good review. But if we can work as an industry to raise our standards, the perception will change and the good agents will start being rewarded and recognised, and the public trust will grow in the sector. Because let's be honest, we are doing a really important job in the cycle of life and moving and helping people move on. So if we raise standards, does that mean we become too focused on compliance? Now, there are some key points to this. Compliance, it is important. The property market is a primary target for money laundering, And mandatory anti-money laundering checks and ID checks are crucial and legally required to prevent the property market being used to clean money. Consumer protection matters as well. A low barrier to entry has led to some rogue agents. I'm sure we all know of them, the rogue operators, and that is what fuels a lack of trust from the public. So formal compliance, it ensures consistency, transparency, and professional standards. However, more paperwork doesn't automatically create better customer service. I'm hopeful that we will all agree on that. And what we want to avoid becoming, we want to avoid being a tick box culture. We want to remember what the role of an estate agent is and what we are good at. And what we are good at is agreeing sales, our interpersonal skills, multitasking, spinning lots of different plates, discussing, speaking, liaising with loads of different stakeholders. And that's really important. What we also need to make sure that the admin burden isn't too much. At the moment, up to 75% of a firm's compliance budget goes towards manual checks, people-related checks, spending significant time verifying identity, securing source of funds, and obtaining the material information, taking estate agents away from selling and marketing and doing what you're good at. Now, there are cost pressures as well, because compliance, it's expensive. It's an expensive cost factor, and it squeezes profit margins of business, with the average independent estate agent spending around £16,000 annually on compliance. That's a wage, £16,000 on compliance. But in my opinion, it might be a wage, but it's nominal compared to the financial penalties of getting it wrong. Some agents are doing a good thing and are pushing back and passing that cost onto clients, with firms now charging an onboarding or a compliance fee, call it what you will. And there are many software options available now to automate compliance. Now that's going to speed up ID verification. It's going to remove the admin burden. It's going to allow estate agents to focus on the human specialist nature of the role, rather than being absorbed by the admin burden. So we need to be careful that we're measuring outcomes rather than simply measuring activity. And we need to remember that regulation still has a role to play. It still baffles me, considering I have spent my time and my money becoming a qualified initially as a surveyor, and then using my qualifications and additional exams to join Property Mark across all three divisions, NAEA, ALA and NAVA. How come estate agents in this day and age don't need qualifications, don't need to be licensed, don't need to be qualified? It's wrong. Regulation offers the potential to professionalise the industry, stamp out bad practice, and give consumers more control over who manages their property, either through a sale or a letting. And let's just remember, property is the biggest asset someone will own, and it's got no regulation, low barriers to entry for those working in the industry. So does compliance improve standards, or does professionalism improve standards? I would say they work hand in hand personally, because we've got to raise standards. We have to introduce compliance because property can be used to launder money. And we need to make sure that's right. And we need to make sure that the AML checks are right. We need to make sure who someone is who they is. We also need to make sure that we're not putting too much cost and too much pressure on businesses and that we're supporting them. And hopefully it becomes an industry standard, such as solicitors, such as accountants, such as other bodies, such as other professions, that ask for a fee for checking ID, money laundering, disbursement charges. That's what it is. So we need to make sure that all this happens and that professionalism improves as well at the same time. And not only do we need to improve professionalism, not only do we need to raise standards, we need the right people in our industry. And that is one of the real issues. People. The industry doesn't have a technology problem, in my opinion. The industry doesn't have a compliance problem, in my opinion. The problem is people. It's a people problem. And that comes down to recruitment. How do we attract talent? We need to lift the entry standards in the profession. This industry is still really attractive to people. As a nation, we love property. We love discussing homes. We love house values. We love interior design. We love gardens. We love extensions. We love new builds. And it's all supported with the TV shows dedicated to housing. So what we need to do, we need to make working in this industry more credible as a career and as a profession. Young talent are the future of our profession. They're the future of our industry. And we need to allow them to enter this industry, not just for a short period, but for a long period, for a career. Because this industry, it's like no other. Property, no day is the same. You're making a big difference to people's lives. We're helping people move houses. We're helping families move on after a family breakdown. There's lots of networking opportunities. And now with the growth of social media, we can use the knowledge and experience of a generation that has grown up with social media to the industry's advantage. And there are not many professions that would encourage creativity on social media. But what we have to do to attract the talent and make people stay long term, we need the qualifications. We need the qualifications because qualifications are going to raise the standards. They're going to improve knowledge of the industry. And that, in my opinion, is going to improve the credibility of this industry and improve the perception of our industry. If we can promote consistency and the need for qualifications to practice in this industry, it will remove the people who only want to work in the industry short term. We want to attract people who want to be in property for a long-term career, who are serious about property. And I am confident that by raising standards, mandatory qualification, and attracting new talent on the back of making the profession more credible, we will improve the perception of the industry. We will build trust with the public when our role becomes more understood. Now, being understood also comes down to the career pathways, because there is a misunderstanding of the role of an estate agent. As I've said on our other podcast, most people think estate agents were either drinking coffee, going out on viewings, or taking pictures of houses. Most outsiders to the industry do not realise there are so many different roles within a property company. There really is a role for everyone. You can be in admin, you can be in sales, you can be in accounts, you can be in finances, you can be in the legal department, you could be a valuer, a negotiator, a property manager, office staff, senior property managers, accounts clerks, sales progressors, or part of a maintenance team. There are so many different roles within a property business that it offers such a good career pathway because you can become multi-talented. You could start in a sales role and end up in a property management role and get a real experience of the whole spectrum of the property industry. And that brings us on to training and ongoing development. Did you know 74% of agents believe in qualifications and continuous professional development? Property Mart, it requires it as part of their membership requirements. It ensures that those working in the industry are up to date with current legislation and working guidance. But it's beyond that. It's learning just beyond the compliance. CPD is a standard throughout most, if not all, professional industries. It ensures those working in the sector have the skills to remain relevant, up to date, and aware of any of the changes to the sector, including technology, new methods of working, presenting a property, or communicating with a client. It also ensures that those working in the industry are confident in the service and advice which they are delivering. Now, we've got the big Property Mart conference this coming Friday. Now, that is such a special day for our industry. And we, if you're a member of Property Mart and have company advantage, you get a free ticket. And it's worth its weight in gold. We're going to be networking with other members. We're going to be learning new things. We're going to have some fantastic speakers, some controversial ones as well, but I'll leave Angela Rayner's name out of this conversation for now because it will upset those in Property Mart that have worked really hard to get some real headline speakers. And let's be honest, It might be Angela Rayner, but she is a headline speaker. And that is a great day for me. It's a great day out for my team that are coming with me. And we're going to learn, we're going to improve what we feel about the industry. We're going to know where we're heading in direction. So CPD doesn't have to be laborious. It doesn't need to be boring. It can be fun. It can be engaging. And you can also pick up some really good contacts along the way. Now, part and parcel of attracting the right culture, it's about the leadership. It's about the culture that you set within a business. It's about accountability of who's doing what. And it's about the empowerment so that your team feel confident and secure that they have your full support and can do things out of the ordinary. Rules are there for breaking sometimes. And by breaking rules, sometimes you find an even better way of working. And the best agencies I've seen aren't necessarily the ones with the biggest budgets or the newest technology. They're the ones with the best and the right people that fit into the culture of the business. And the business looks after them. The business knows what they're getting out of their team is good. Now, what does good look like though? Does good look like professional qualifications, supportive rather than just having a qualification? Does it mean continuous development? Should learning just be normal? Or is it technology that's used to be a service? Well, I see good as all of those factors completely. I see good as an agent using tools to help them do the job. AI, there's a place for it. Use AI as a tool to take care of the admin tasks. Use your human element. Use your skills as an agent for that specialist contact with a client, negotiating a sale, dealing with a maintenance issue, dealing with a rental offer, dealing with a sale that might be breaking down. That bit is the bit AI can't do. That's the bit us as agents are really well qualified, knowledgeable and experienced to deal with. And we use all of the qualifications, the experience, the continuous development, the technology. We use all that to provide a really great service. That's what good, in my opinion, that's what good is. That's what good looks like within the industry. So we can all work together. We can have industry collaboration to work together because we all know each other. We all network with each other. We all go on the same courses. And our good, it raises the standards of the industry as a whole. So the goal shouldn't be about making a state agency harder. The goal should be about making a state agency better. So now, the turning point. No guest this week. So I'm back to me and my turning point. So I'm going to have to answer my own question. What was the biggest turning point in my career? Well, if we go back to episode 1, my biggest turning point in my career was realizing that leadership is not about solving every problem personally. Earlier in my career, when I opened Tiger, and for a few years after opening Tiger, I used to take every lost instruction, every difficult client, and every challenge extremely personal. And I spent a huge amount of time trying to fix everything. Over time, I began to understand the 80-20 principle. In most businesses, a small percentage of issues consume the majority of my time and my attention. And it'll be exactly the same in your business or in your role that you're doing. So the turning point for me, it was recognizing that leadership isn't about constantly firefighting. So it's about creating the right culture, supporting the right people, and making sure the minority of challenges don't distract you from the majority of things that are actually going really well. That shift in mindset made me calmer. It helped me make better decisions. And ultimately, it made me a better leader. And on the back of that, I've raised standards in my business. We're a very compliant business. We're members of Property Mark. We have regular audits. We always are checking our AML. Sometimes we have to report stuff because it's suspicious. And we are the first line of defense for our country in tackling money laundering because property is used. And We've attracted the right kind of people. We've got the right culture. My team have stayed with me a long, long time over the years, even down to having, from when I opened with 3 people, 2 of them still work for me. Chris, who was on episode 1, been with me for 10 years. Stephen, episode 2, auction director at Webmove, worked with me now for 7 years. It's all about setting the right culture, retaining your team, which comes through giving them training, making them feel empowered about the business and the role they are taking. Thank you very much for listening to a one-off special. Hopefully we'll have guests for future and I won't be flying it solo anymore. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, share it with somebody who works in or has an interest in property. And until next time, thank you for listening.